Greetings, Deep Dive Podcast listeners. This is your boy, Sam Oram, coming at you with another episode of the Deep Dive Podcast. I know you guys hear me say this every week, but I am so excited about tonight's guest. I have been so looking forward to this. As a matter of fact, our guest is originating from London, England tonight. So you're going to get a chance to hear some empowerment tools and tips from an entirely different perspective. So we're so excited about hearing from our guest tonight. But before we get into that, as usual, I always like to ask everyone who's listening to make sure that you subscribe, you download, you share this particular podcast, because it is going to be epic and it's going to be exciting. We want to make sure that we continue to spread our message of empowerment around the world, make sure that we continue to share our messages of positivity and empowerment. So make sure you help us out. Just subscribe, like, download, share. If you subscribe, or when you subscribe, be mindful that every time we upload a different episode, you'll get a push notification on your phone letting you know, hey, look, there's another episode and you want to take a listen to it. So please do us that favor. And I'm telling you, tonight, you're going to be empowered. So I'm so excited about our guest tonight. This is a young lady that comes to us with so many credentials, so well sought after and thought of. You know, she is actually a person who embodies what we talk about here at the Deep Dive Podcast, because she's all about empowerment. Her deal is to empower people, individuals, groups, organizations, businesses. That's what she does. And the unique thing about what she does is not just about motivation, but one of the things that she's keen on is to make sure that there are results. Make sure that there are measurable results. And that's one of the things we certainly want to hear about tonight. She has been so successful. Check this out, guys. She actually has a book. It's called Never Judge a Book by Its Cover. This particular book, she received a letter from the Queen of England. Now, we're not talking about just anyone. We're talking about the Queen of England advising that her book had been specially selected to be placed in the private royal library. Now, let that settle in for a second. Think about how powerful that is when the Queen of England, acknowledges your work. This just goes to show the magnitude of who this particular person is, and based on that success, she has been interviewed in television and radio and different platforms from New York to LA and all over the world. She has truly empowered people throughout the world. And I'm excited to get a chance to hear about her, some of the things that she's doing, some of her visions for the future. And I think one thing before we bring her here is to let you know that this is one of the individuals who believe that it's important to be able to strategize and use strategies that are result-based, right? So when you're taking your notes tonight, when you're listening to this podcast tonight, and even the replays of the podcast, make sure you tune in on what she's referring to when she talks about results, because that is exactly what it is that we're seeking in terms of being empowered. And there's no one better to share this message of empowerment with us, with our audience throughout the world. None other. Let's bring to the front of the stage, or global stage, none other than Kay Suthar. Kay, how are you, my friend?
Oh my goodness, that introduction was amazing. Thank you. And thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you so much. I am so excited. I'm telling you, we scheduled this a while back, and, I have been so anticipating getting a chance to speak to you, but more importantly, to have our audience hear your message. This particular podcast is airing live on over 170 countries right now. And, these individuals are truly, they're excited about being empowered and understanding some of the tools that you have shared with so many other groups and businesses. But before we get into that, if you don't mind, just share a little bit about yourself, so that those of us who are, listening around the world get a little familiar with what Kay is doing.
Okay, so like you already mentioned, I am from UK and based in London. I have traveled around for the last few years before the pandemic happened, right. Helping businesses, individuals on business, different aspects of business, whether it be affiliate marketing, building an Amazon business, learning how to sell on eBay. Like, there were so many different aspects of business that I was teaching around the world. And I really started off with working as a police officer a few years ago, and I decided to quit this job and kind of pursue, what business really is all about. What does it really mean in real life business, right? Because to me, though, I was brought up thinking, oh, building a business means that you've got to be lucky, and luck only happens to certain people. It's not for everyone, right? And so when I kind of dived in and kind of went through the journey of what is business all about, what does entrepreneur mean, right? Because when I was young, right, no one said the word entrepreneur. No one really knew what an entrepreneur meant, what that word was. And now it's so popular, right? And so I started off working at live events in the back of the room, managing, doing the logistics for events, right? And there's so many seminars, so many events going on. And I didn't really know what a seminar or event was.
Right.
And someone basically just said to me, do you know what? We need someone like you. We need to build on our events department in the company, and you'll be perfect for it. And I'm like, hold on a second. I don't have no qualifications. In event, I have no experience. I've never done this. Are you sure?
Right.
And they were like, well, do you want to learn? And I was like, well, yeah, of course. And they were like, well, that's all we need to know. And I'm like, holy crap. Okay, this is happening now.
Right.
And so I went country to country, city to city, living out of a suitcase. I know it's not for everyone, but I absolutely love it. I hate being in one place at one time.
Right.
So as I was in the back of the room, and I, learned how to do events, became the event manager in 4 months. I decided that I wanted to learn how to do sales. Did front end sales, did back end sales. At the same time, I was around the right people. I was around entrepreneurs, business owners, speakers, gurus, getting up on stage, talking about what business is. So I made sure I was in the right environment to learn, all the different things I needed to learn and what it actually means. And so as I progressed and I learned sales, did back-end sales, I became one of the #1 closers in the company. Now, this is awesome, right? And I was like, nothing could go wrong, nothing at all. I'm like on the peak of my career now. And then, the minute you say that, something goes terribly wrong.
Exactly. I knew it was coming. Yeah.
But I didn't at the time. I was like, nothing's gonna knock me, right?
Right.
And so I was asked by the CEO of this company to go to Costa Rica and to help with the live events over there. And there was this mastermind events that people were paying $60K and above to go to these mastermind events, right? So they weren't small.
Right.
And so I was like, oh my goodness. And he was like, your apartment will be paid for, your flights will be paid for, your food and drink will be paid for, and then we're going to pay you on top for your service. And I'm like, wow, really? Like, I'll be crazy not to take this opportunity.
Right.
So I was like, yep, packed my bags and flew over there. I was there for 3 weeks. And then it went horribly wrong.
Oh, wow.
All of a sudden, just out of the blue, didn't see it coming, click of a finger, the company shut down.
Wow. Wow.
So now I'm there thinking, I'm in a foreign country. I don't speak the language.
Right.
I've been evicted from my home, no food, no drink. I'm homeless.
Wow. Wow.
And so I was like, what the hell am I going to do? And no word of a lie, I kind of I sat there thinking, how ridiculous is this situation right now? Right. And I couldn't help laugh to myself. But to cut the story short, and I will go into that a bit deeper, but to cut the story short, to answer your question, I know it was very long-winded.
No, that's fine.
I basically found that there was a gap in the industry, in the coaching consulting industry. And that gap was there's too many people out there that pat their clients on the shoulder and tell them everything's going to be okay.
Right.
And I'm thinking, it's not going to be okay unless you get your ass off the chair and do something about it.
That's right. Absolutely.
Right? And so I decided to create Uncensored Society. And what that really means is that I'm going to get in your face. I'm going to tell you the truth, whether you like it or not.
Right.
And you know what? You might even cry. You probably will cry, right?
Right.
But You're either going to hate me or you're going to love me. But I have to tell people this through their coaching because it's something that they need to hear. There's so many people that have habits that they've built, that they've grown through, experience, through family, that no longer serves them.
Right.
And so sometimes I do have to tell people straight, be raw, be real, that what you're doing right now isn't working. And I do that because I want to see results. Right. The reason they hired me is to get them the results that they're looking for. And when I've identified that there's certain habits that's not working for them, and they need to stop it, they need to stop it now.
Right.
I'm going to be getting in your face and telling you.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, and if that's not something that you'll be able to handle, then I'm not the coach for you. Find somebody else.
You know what?
Right?
That is so interesting. And I appreciate you sharing that because I have a very similar mindset, and when I talk to people and they kind of think I'm a little tough or a little mean or a little insensitive about certain things, but just as you stated, it's just about results. When we're coaching and we're talking to people, it's not so much to be your friend, it is to get you some results. And if that means, like you said, get it in your face or doing some things of that nature, then that's our job. That's what we should do. Right. So certainly I appreciate that mindset. I appreciate you letting the audience know that because, it's not easy. Success is not easy. And so we have to understand that up front, and there's no one better to share that concept than you. So thank you for that information. It's interesting. You have a quote that I really love, and that quote is, everyone must choose one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Now, I mean, when I heard that quote, it's just like, man, that's so powerful. How did you come up with that approach, and what does it mean from your perspective?
I hear so many times people say to me, I didn't have a choice, but I had to do this. I didn't have a choice. I had kids and I couldn't build my business. I didn't have a choice. Or my husband, he didn't like me. I'm building my own business because it made him feel vulnerable, Right. I had no choice. And I'm like, every single person has a choice. Right?
That's right.
So now you need to choose for you, either one or the other. It's not that difficult. It really isn't. And instead of living for everybody else, start living for yourself.
Right.
Because you're the one that's going to be living this life and then find that you're actually unhappy. You're not fulfilled. You're miserable because you've been living for everybody else. Right. Start making choices and make choices for yourself. Is either one or is the other. And that's as simple as it is. The thing is, as human beings, I find that we love to overcomplicate things. We love it.
Right.
And it doesn't need to be that complicated. It's really simple.
Right.
But because of the habits that we've built up and the stories that we tell ourselves, right? And they are their stories, we kind of get in this overwhelm, this frustration. Oh my God, what if this happens? And what if that happens? Well, hello, you don't know what's going to happen until you do it.
That's it.
So how about we do it and then figure it out, right? Let's build the plane while we fly it.
Right. That is powerful. I mean, you're so right. And the point you made in terms of the stories that we create and the narratives that we tell ourselves, I think it's another form of just making excuses for, not being productive or not taking that step, whatever it may be. So we create these narratives, and most of the time they're false narratives. And as a matter of fact, even if it's true, if you're going to succeed, then so what that is true. You have to do it anyway. A lot of people say, well, hey, Kay or Sam, we would love to do what you do. But the question is, would you love to do what we did? Would you love to make the sacrifices that we've made, go through some of the challenges that we've been able to do? We don't make excuses. We don't create these false narratives. We just get in the trenches and make it happen. So, certainly that's incredible. And I mean, I know that has served you well in business, and it also, I'm sure, have served so many of your coaching clients or other people that you've empowered. I do know that you have, what you call 5 pillars of business. Could you kind of share those with the audience? I know they're taking notes. So if you could share those 5 pillars and what that means, I think that'd be very powerful.
Right. So the 5 pillars of business is sales, marketing, finance, operations, and leadership.
Okay.
Right. And people say to me, which one's more important? And I'm like, they're all important, right? Especially
Right.
when you're scaling.
Right.
But the priorities shift, right, as you grow your business.
Mm-hmm.
So in the beginning, you need to market the hell out of your business if you're a startup, because no one knows who you are, what you do, what your business is. You
Right.
need to market.
Right.
And as you know, marketing comes in all shapes and forms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going on the podcast is a form of marketing.
That's
Having
right.
your own podcast is another form of marketing,
right?
There's several different ways. And I love the quote that, oh God, I've completely forgotten his name. Oh, Grant Cardone. There we go. Grant Cardone, he says you need to promote, and make as much noise in the industry as possible.
Mm-hmm.
That no matter where people go, where people are, that they just hear you, they see you, and they can't get away from you. You need to promote so much in the beginning.
Right.
And then when what coincides with marketing is sales. So now you're promoting, you need to do sales. You need to be good at sales. You need to understand people. Because if you don't get sales in your business, guess what? You're not going to have a business for very long.
Right.
Right. And so it's important in the beginning, throughout your entire business, because you want to be able to, get leads, put yourself out there, do those sales, and they'll come slowly in the beginning, and then gradually you build up. Mm-hmm. Right. So that's super important to know as well. And, sales, what I'm going to say about sales is about building relationships, right?
Okay.
People think, I just got to get the card. I've got to get the card details. I want the card, right? The minute you start thinking about the card and not about the person you're speaking with, that's when you stop listening, right? And the thing is, the client is going to hear this in your voice. They're going to know, okay, they really don't care about me. They just want my money.
Right.
So the biggest tip I can give anyone that does sales is start listening to the client. Listen to what they actually want, and start getting good at reading between the lines.
Okay.
Because people don't always, they're not upfront with what's going on in the world, what they're struggling with, right? And so reading between the lines and actually being able to pull out certain things about them, where they're actually struggling, where the frustrations are, that's when you become a really good coach. And this is where people start thinking, oh my goodness, this person really knows me, they want to get to know me, and they really want to help me. That's when you won't even have a struggle of getting the card details. They're going to be throwing it at you. Right. And then we come to finance. Finance is a huge thing because we all need to learn to budget. And the biggest thing that I find people do, especially in the beginning, is they forget to pay themselves. Right? They don't pay themselves. And hello, you got to be the first person that you pay. Right? You're doing all the work.
Absolutely.
Right? But learning how to pay yourself and how to budget to see where your money should be going in your business, especially in marketing. There's a lot of money that people pour into marketing. It's awesome if you're getting the results. If you're not getting results, then you need to switch it up. But you don't know unless you start trying.
Yeah.
Right. And then operations. That's important as you grow. You need to have processes, systems, right? Automation as you grow, because you will be spreading yourself thin. If you think you can do it all, you can't. There's no way in hell you're going to be able to build a business on your own. And anyone that says, I'm a one-man band and I built a multi-million-dollar business on my own, he's a liar.
He's lying,
it doesn't happen. Right? And so making sure you have processes, procedures, policies in place is highly important, especially when you then start hiring as well. Right? Everyone needs to know where they stand. When you start hiring, you are not just a CEO anymore, you are a leader. And unfortunately, leadership doesn't just, it doesn't happen for everybody. Sometimes people need to learn what it means to become a leader.
That's right.
And so one of the things that people say to me is, you've got this team, like, how do you manage them? And I'm like, what are you talking about? They manage me.
Right.
And they're like, what? And I'm like, I'm not their boss. They're my boss.
Right.
They tell me every day what I need to be doing, what my calendar is like, what podcast to be on, what interviews I have, what tasks I need to do. And if I don't do it, they hold me accountable. This hasn't been done. Why not?
That's right.
And therefore, that's why they're my bosses. I don't turn around and tell them, I'm the boss. You need to do this. You need to do that. No, they're the one that's putting all the work in. They're doing the groundwork.
Right. Right.
Right. So you need to understand that the minute they realize that, yeah, they are learning from you, your team are learning from you, seeing what you're doing, but they're doing the groundwork and they're your boss, there is no conflict. Right? Because they realize they're not working for you, they're working with you. And so you get the best out of people, right? When you allow them to get creative, right? To think for themselves.
Right.
Give them that platform where they know that they're trusted to get on with it. And so that's what it means to become a leader. And sometimes you might have an idea and you do something wrong. Guess what? As a leader, it's up to you to put your hands up and say, yeah, I messed up.
Right. That's right.
Don't blame your team. Don't blame somebody else. It's you.
Right. Now that's powerful, Kay. I can speak firsthand from your leadership team, because just in communicating back and forth, one of your leaders reached out to me and, just kind of shared some things. And I'm like, okay. You do have a powerful team. I can tell you that firsthand.
Oh,
so,
definitely.
And that's important. So, and for those of you, all of you who are listening in, again, those 5 pillars of business: sales, marketing, finance, operations, and leadership. You want to write those down. You want to really study it. There are some things that Kay shared that's very important, and the least of which, or not the least of which, is promoting. You got to continue to promote your business. As she said, if no one hears about you, no one knows about you, then it's all for naught. Nothing else in those pillars matter if no one knows who you are, if no one can see your product. So yeah, make sure you follow those 5 principles. That's very important. And then even as you're going through the process, because Kay talked about, the fact that, sometimes we may think we're a leader, but, we have to develop to become a leader, or we have to develop certain skill sets. Kay, I know that you talk a lot about personal growth and balancing your family and life career. As we start to wind down, can you share a little bit about the power of personal growth and this balance, how important it is?
Yeah, so with me, I'm not someone that, says, yeah, okay, I've done this course, I've done that course, I've done Tony Robbins, done that, I know it all. No, it's about continuing, is a life process, right? On growing yourself.
Right.
And so the person you were 10 years ago, you're not going to be that same person now. And who you're going to be 10 years after is not going to be the person you are now. You're going to continue to grow. If you find that you are the same person, in 10 years down the line, then clearly you're doing something wrong.
That's a problem.
Right? There's no progress there.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I have mentors, I have coaches. I know the value of them, right? Because they continue to push me to the next level. Right. And no word of a lie, I've found that the coaches and mentors that I've had that have been in my face, that have told me, get your head out of your ass and do something about it now, are the ones where I found that I've progressed so much more.
Right.
Right. And so I make sure I keep those people around me, because I need people to be straight with me. I need people to be real with me. Right? Don't be one of those people that tap me on the shoulder and tell me it's going to be okay. I'm like, now I've got to the point where I'm going to be like, no, screw yourself. It's not going to be okay. Right?
Right.
And so personal development never ever stops. You got to be coachable. You got to be open. Now, if you have a coach or a mentor that says exactly what my mentor told me and told me to get my head out of my ass, right? Instead of being, oh my goodness, don't talk to me like that. You can't talk to me like that. You got to change your perspective. Why are you saying that to me? What are you seeing that I'm not seeing right now? What's going on? Right? Because we don't always see the bad habits that we have. We don't see it. We need someone to spell it out for us.
Right.
Right. So don't remove that ego that you have about, oh, you can't talk to me like that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to go. Start asking questions as to, okay, what am I doing wrong? What do I need to change here? Right. That's how you're going to be able to develop. And then balancing family and, your business is so crucial, because I'll tell you something, if you start neglecting your family, they're going to be the first ones to tell you. They're not going to hide it.
That's right. Yeah.
And I've experienced that.
Okay.
And so one of the things that I've had to learn to do is making sure that I have everything on my calendar, right? Everything that I'm going to be doing, making sure I put time or distribute my time evenly, the best that I can, with family and with work.
Right.
And what I've actually, God, I don't do anything, if it's not on my calendar, because I believe if it's not on your calendar, it's not going to get done. Right. I even have slots in there for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? Because as most people probably experience, when you're working, you can get carried away. You realize the whole day's gone past and you've not had a single meal.
Right. That's true.
And one of the things that I coach people is you gotta protect yourself. There's gotta be self-love. You gotta, there's well-being. If you don't take care of yourself, there's no way in hell you're gonna be able to serve your clients. You're gonna get burnt out.
Absolutely.
And so making sure that you kind of have everything on the calendar, you live on the calendar, you know what you're doing each day. If you've got, I don't know if it's your mum's birthday one day, make sure you don't block anything on that calendar and it's completely free, because missing mum's birthday is not going to be a good look for you, let me tell you that.
Not at all, yeah.
Right? And so doing that and just having everything on the calendar, so you are very clear as what you got to do today, what's happening tomorrow. And then also the great thing about having a team is they make sure I'm on point too. Right. I don't miss anything. If anything's been cancelled or rescheduled, it's all there on the calendar. They let me know.
Right.
But, and that's going to be needed as you scale up. But to kind of, when you're first starting out, make sure you're able to keep, on point with everything. And just go by the calendar, and there's no way you can go wrong with that. That way you're evenly distributing your time with everything that needs to get done in your business and in your personal life as well.
Right. Yeah, I love that. I love that structure. I'm a structured type person as well. So I certainly appreciate that. I know you have a company, Uncensored Society, and you've recently launched your podcast, Uncensored Society Podcast. So first of all, congratulations on that. And we're so excited about that. I tell you what, I know that it's going to be powerful, because all the information that you're sharing, these are jewels that people would pay a lot of money, just to get a chance to hear. So as we close out, tell us a little bit about your company and how we can maintain our connection with you if we want to just kind of follow up with you on some things.
Yes, so the best way to get in contact with me is through my website, www.uncensoredsociety.com. On there, you've got, the contact form. You can email me. You've also got the links to my Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. You can DM me on there as well. Also, if it's possible, Sam, and I want to ask you this before I say anything, sure. I do have a free gift for your audience, if that's okay.
Oh, wow. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure they would appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome. So what I've done, I've created this mini program, and it helps people from going to being busy to being productive.
Okay.
And the reason why I built this is because of the excuses I've been hearing, because people tell me they don't have choices, because people tell me they don't have time. And so what I've done, I've reverse engineered everything to make it simple for everybody. And so it helps people kind of identify, put pen to paper, what their long-term goals are, what their short-term goals are, and how to hit those targets. And so you start looking at, all right, what am I doing in a day? What am I doing in a week? What am I doing in a month? And where people have been telling me, I don't have time, right? I'm doing this, that, the other. And I've sat down with people, right? Okay, let's see what you've done on this day. And then realized, holy crap, I've been watching Netflix for 6 hours every day.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that isn't going to serve you or your business.
Or Facebook.
Right. And so when you start becoming aware and identifying these habits that you have, you're able to then change those habits.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay.
Well, the minute you change your habits to become more successful, that's when you're going to see success, not only in your business, but in your personal life as well.
Right. That's
Right.
right. Yeah.
And so before we go, so there's this one little other tip I would love to share with your audience,
Okay.
right? And because I feel like everybody needs to hear this. And so when I ask people, you know, what do you think is the most valuable commodity that we have, right?
Mm-hmm.
10 out of 10 say time.
Time, right.
Time is the most valuable. And I say, so why is that? And they go, because once time is gone, we can't get it back.
Right.
I'm like, okay, well, yeah, that's true. But I said to them, there's three main valuable commodities, and that is time, money, and change, right? And I tell them, in fact, it's not time that's more valuable, it's change. And they go, what do you mean? So I said to them, okay, let's break it down. Why is it that there's some people in the world that are able to make $100,000 in a day, but yet there's other people on the planet that can only make $100 in a day?
Right.
And I go, the reason for that is because change of habits. The minute you change your habits, you will start seeing success.
Right.
Everybody on the planet has the exact amount of time.
That's
right?
True.
You don't have more time in the world than me, and I don't have more time in the world than you.
Right.
Right? So why is it that some people can make more than others? And it's because of the change of habits.
Right. Wow. That is so powerful, Kay. I tell you, I could actually speak with you all day, but I understand, how valuable your time is. And so we certainly appreciate and respect the fact that you did share so much information with us. Again, everybody, for all of our listeners, you certainly want to go to the Uncensored Society, uncensoredsociety.com website. To take a look at everything that Kay is doing to continue to support. Also, the Uncensored Society podcast, which, this particular episode is just a taste of what Kay's brilliance is all about. And I encourage every single person who's listening to continue to follow her, to continue to follow her teachings, continue to, support what she's doing, because as she's uplifted and empowered, then she has more of an ability to uplift and empower us. So let's continue to work together with each other and with Kay. Kay, before we get out of here, my friend, is there any last final words or anything you want to share with the audience? I mean, again, I'm so excited and appreciative, but is there anything else you'd like to share before we close out?
Oh, goodness. Yeah. If anyone telling them that what they're doing is a mistake, it's wrong, and then to get a 9-to-5 job, and building a business is a crazy thing to do, then just tell them to go screw themselves.
Just that simple. And tell them Kay said it.
Yeah, as simple as that. Learn for it to just go over your head. Right. Ignore it and just do what you need to do.
No, that is so true. I tell people, we talk about creating your future, becoming the master of your own fate, the captain of your own soul. Yeah. And so that is so true. So if you get into a situation where people, try to discourage you from doing certain things, and I always like to tell people, remember this, if you buy somebody else's opinion, you better be prepared to buy their lifestyle. So most of the time, people who are sharing with you those ill opinions, they're living a piss poor life. So why would you want to follow what they're talking about? Follow some people who have done something like Kay, right?
Right. And then people need to realize also there's a difference between opinion and advice. Okay. You wouldn't go to a chef and ask him questions about how to fix your car. You'd go to a mechanic. Right. And so you always get advice from the professionals that you're seeking a certain advice on a certain topic around. You don't go to, I wouldn't go to my mom and ask her, how do I fix a tire?
Right.
Right? So then why would you then take advice? I know they're your loved ones. You wouldn't take advice from someone that isn't actually doing that particular thing. It makes no sense as an opinion.
That's right.
So you want to listen to advice, but ignore opinion.
There you go. Advice versus opinion. I'm writing that down. Okay, again, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence on the Deep Dive podcast. You are a wealth of knowledge. You know, we truly appreciate all of your teachings and all of the things that you've been able to share with us tonight, but then also moving forward in the future. Again, everyone, please remember to follow Kay at www.uncensoredsociety.com. Also follow and support her podcast at Uncensored Society Podcast. I'm telling you, you will be empowered. So, Kay, thank you again so much. All of our listeners, continue to subscribe, share, download, and like this particular podcast. It will be replayed in all podcast platforms. So go back and listen to it again and share it with your friends. Share with them the power of Kay Suthar. Kay, my friend, thank you so much and be blessed. I'll see everyone on the beaches of the world. God bless.
Thank you, Sam. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.